Couldn't find bolts exactly the right length that I wanted, so I'm going to end up having to use my least favorite tool, which is a hacksaw. Good thing about it is it doesn't catch fire. I'm really glad those are only 5/16 diameter. These two bolts go in and act as the mounts for the countershaft. I had to take the threading die and thread it down further onto the shank. I couldn't find one that had all thread. I did a trial run assembly before I cut off the bolts, just to make sure that before I cut off the bolts they were going to be the right length after I cut them. So this assembly should go fairly simply. Flat washer, lock washer nut, flat washer, lock washer nut. I used to write work instructions for an assembly line, and the hardest thing I could get into people's heads was that the flat washer was against the surface of the thing you were tightening, and the lock washer went against the head of the bolt. Everybody thought they went the other way. Put the 4 motor mount bolts in. The original mount, I bought the lathe, it was bolted to a wooden bench. And it had the countershaft bolted to the bench, and the motor bolted to the bench. So every time I wanted to tighten up either one, I had to adjust both. For this method, the flat belt should be self-adjusting. The weight of the motor will put enough weight on it to put tension on the belt so it'll drive. And the motor mount is an independent adjustment. It doesn't change the position of the countershaft. That's how it goes together. There's still 2 more bolts that should be tightened up on the motor, but in order to mount the plate in behind the lathe, I'm going to have to disassemble the countershaft and the motor. First thing I need to do is take off the motor so that I can set the plate in behind the lathe and mark out where the plate's going to be. Then take the countershaft off the plate so that I can tip the plate up and not have it hit into the body of the lathe, and mark out the holes where the bolts for the hinge go. That way I can bolt the hinge down to the table, then bolt the countershaft down to the plate, and bolt the motor on top. And you'll notice I set it up so that all the bolts are reachable from on top. That made it so that I didn't have to take the lathe off the bench in order to mount the countershaft, which seemed kind of a waste of time and effort. So, the thing I'm going to do right now is disassemble the motor off of there and get ready to put it up onto the bench again.